Saban has stepped down. Dan Lanning, the most mentioned name that Alabama wanted, he is staying at Oregon. Now, is it maybe Kalen DeBoer going to Bama? Let's bring in Dave Bartoo, College Football Matrix. He is live on the radio with the Rona. How you feeling?
Right, under quarantine in my office right now. The only way it affects me is I get 2 days of really bad fever. So yeah. I'm in the middle of the shimmies and the shakes right now. And
that's too bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it is what it is. So
all right. Well, I hope you recover quickly. We'll call you Rona Dave here for this segment.
Right.
You were laughing. I was saying, is Kalen DeBoer the guy at Alabama? You're a Kalen DeBoer guy. You nailed him way before anyone else knew how good he was. Do you think he'll get the Alabama job?
No, I don't. Well, in fact, okay, so let's start with my first rule of coaching search. Whatever's on the interwebs, 99% of it is crap and nobody knows what they're talking about. Now, it's cool because Saban is so big. You got guys even like Cowherd bringing up guys who replace him just for the clicks. They got no idea what's going on, and it's funny because, I mean, as you know, I've been involved with a lot of head coaching searches, a lot of ADs. I would say 9 times out of 10, even though I'm like first level contact with the AD, I don't even know who it is until he walks up on the podium. That's how tight it is, right? So now I think you and I would both agree that Saban, Alabama, Greg Byrne, the AD, he knew about this a long time ago.
Yeah.
He had his guy weeks ago. All this speculation is crap, absolute crap. That this is the guy they want, and that's the guy they want. It's just fans being crazy because they got nothing else to talk about, and they hate being in the dark. And the 1% that's out there that's real is intentionally leaked. So, but I don't think it's going to be DeBoer. As a head coach, I think he's awesome. Top 5 in the country. I don't know if he fits down in Alabama, recruiting in the Southeast. I mean, he's a South Dakota Plains guy. I think he's really happy at Washington. And I think part of this, too, is no matter what you look at, you got to understand with this job. Yeah, it seems sexy. This is the biggest pair of shoes to fill in college football in my lifetime.
Yeah, probably. Well, I mean, history. I mean, think about, I guess whoever followed Bear Bryant, but I mean.
Yeah, right? I mean, those guys all got fired, and Alabama went through some dark ages themselves. I mean, before Nick, I mean, this was a program that was recruiting, 17, 24, 32. I mean, they were good, but they were a rounding error compared to where they are right now. And, with free agency and players being able to leave ad nauseum, I think the depth, I don't think we're going to ever have an elite team again. We'll have national champs, but these teams will not be able to beat teams before this time. I don't think ever.
Because the big boys could just stack up, and now they can't. So NIL is actually helping that, right? Like spreading the talent out.
I think so. I think that's one of the byproducts of this is that, well, look at our national championship game this year. This is the biggest outlier of my lifetime. I mean, 2 non-top 10 recruiters in the same national championship game. I mean, we've had 48 national title games, or 24 this century. 48 teams, and only 7 of them were not top 10 recruiters. And we had 2 this year. Yeah. Right? So I think NIL, well, it's not NIL, it's free agency. NIL is a totally different subject altogether. Let's just call it what it is. NIL is me paying you to influence products that I sell.
Right.
Free agency is boosters paying players. This is free agency.
Transfer.
Okay. Yeah, this is free agency. So the world of free agency, I think balances the playing field. I think it's going to be more exciting because I think the talent's going to be more dispersed. I think the actual talent itself might drop because they're not getting consistent coaching. I think in a few years, little off subject, 4, 5, 6 years, the NFL, you're going to hear people complaining about how kids coming out of college just aren't as prepared as they used to be because they're bouncing around. They have no consistency. Yeah. But I think that lack of consistency opens it up for the national championship and the playoffs with 12 teams, I think it opens it up for a lot of craziness to happen, where in years past, there is just no way, unless you're a top 10 recruiter, you're getting anywhere near a national title.
Well, that bodes well for, obviously we saw it with Washington and Michigan, but it bodes well for Oregon too moving forward. So if you think Greg Byrne has his guy and has had his guy for weeks, what is happening right now? Like, how does you know how this all works? Walk us through how the situation plays out.
I think we're contract. I think we're crossing T's. I think we're dotting I's. I think we're trying to get the marketing in order. We're trying to lose as few kids as possible in the portal. It's and a lot of what's going on is stuff that's just outside my realm. The admin side of it, I don't know, but I do know that based on all of this, and especially how upfront Nick is about this, I am certain, 100% certain, Greg Byrne knew this was coming long before you and I did, right? So I think it's just a lot of parliamentary procedure back there. Now, who it is, I still don't know, right? I'm down to 3 guys right now.
Who?
Right? I'm down to Jeff Brom at Louisville.
Okay.
I'm down to Mike Norvell at Florida State, and I'm down to James Franklin at Penn State.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right? And I didn't think it was Dan from the beginning. I didn't think it was Kalen from the beginning, even though both of them have excellent profiles across the 3 main parts of coaching. Based on my experience and my connectivity, I don't think they were really on the radar. So I really think it's down to those 3 guys. Now, I might be wrong, but I've been watching it, just trying to see if I can use my experience to figure it out, and that's where I'm at right now.
I think Norvell might be the guy. I think that might be the guy right there. That because he's the guy. So Florida State, that whole situation with them was a mess in the ACC. And I just would not blame that guy if he jumped. I feel like, and I also think he's a good coach. I don't know what you think of him, but of those 3, who do you think would be the best guy for them?
Brom.
Really?
I think Brom. I really like Brom. I think he has the highest ceiling of all of them. And don't get me wrong, I like Mike Norvell. Okay. One of the things I like about Mike is, he's a top 5 offensive coordinator in college football. I mean, he'll be the best play caller that Bama had since Sarkisian. All right. So I think that's there. And I agree with you from the standpoint, if Alabama offers it to Mike, he's gone. I mean, he won't even look twice because they're not in a Power 2 conference, right? I mean, there's no way Florida State has Alabama money. And they just got hit with some sanctions for recruiting. So I don't disagree if he's offered it. Brom, he's at his alma mater. So I don't know if he leaves for the pressure you're going to get, even if it was offered. And I think Franklin, if it was offered to him, he would go too, because I think he's kind of maxed out his ceiling at Penn State.
This is Dave Bartoo of the Matrix. Rona Dave, live with COVID. Now, if you strip away the coaches and just look at what a job can offer, what are the best jobs in college football?
Well, if you ask a coach, it's the ones that pay the most, right? I mean, isn't that the best radio job, the one that pays the most if you're a host? I mean, come on.
Well, who pays but I feel like when you get to the upper echelon with all these big boy schools, they can all scrounge up a lot of dough, right? So
right. Well, Vanderbilt and Indiana can still outpay anybody in the ACC and the Big 10 and the Big 12, right? Yeah. So to me, the best jobs are the ones that that are in one of those 2 conferences. Right, has top 15 talent, has the ability to recruit in the top 15. I think even though talent's leveled out, you still have to have a certain level you can get to. So in the Big 10, you're looking at Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Washington. I think those are your Big 5 in terms of desirability and ability to recruit. And then you go in the SEC, you got Georgia, Alabama, Auburn, A&M, LSU.
What about Texas?
Florida, and Texas, right? And Oklahoma. I keep forgetting that 13 of the top 20 recruiters in the country are in those two conferences. So, and USC. I forgot about USC in there too. So, I think it has to do with money and resources and the ability to get the kids there that win you football games because, recruiting still wins football games.
Well, it's pretty crazy that, to think that an Oregon coach has, I don't know if he turned down Alabama, but look, I mean, there would be a lot of reasons for Alabama to want Dan Lanning. Mm-hmm. And it's just wild. I mean, I know you're a Duck, but it's how far the Oregon program has come that you've got a guy who has everything you just talked about at Oregon. I think that's I'm guessing a lot of Duck fans listening right now have to pinch themselves that that's the case. And the Alabama job came open and the guy's like, nah, I'm good. I mean, that's pretty amazing, Dave.
Right, it's pretty badass, really. It's more than pinch yourself. I mean, it's like this is a national power in Eugene. Period. It is. It's been a top 10 recruiter now for the last 2 years. This is a national championship contender. It was one of only 4 teams in the country that was top 10 in offense and defense this year in my numbers. One of only 4. Those teams win national titles. The only one that made the playoffs was Michigan. Guess who won it? Yeah. Right? I mean, so Oregon had everything this year. That was a national championship level team if they could have got by Washington in Vegas. So going forward, absolutely. He's got all the resources, not just from a monetary standpoint, the facilities, the coaching, all of it is there in Eugene without the pressure. I mean, Alabama, that's going to be a horrible job. Whoever gets it, the pressure cooker that it's going to be, I don't know if it's worth the money. Right? Even if you're making 10, 12 million a year versus 8, 9 million in Eugene, the daily, hourly, minute by minute pressure in Tuscaloosa would be unbelievable. And compared to Eugene.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Oregon has not maybe on par with what Alabama has, but they have enough to do what they do at Alabama, and yet you don't have the pressure. Why would you want to go there? But I guess, like you say, money talks. Okay, so do you think? I think one of the residual sort of benefits of what happened with Lanning, I know Duck fans were a little worried yesterday, and today they're breathing easy, is I think that now that the Alabama job opened and he's like, I'm good, I think this means Lanning is at Oregon for quite some time, as long as things keep going well, don't you?
Right. Well, he has a chance to build a legacy. Because how many legacy coaches are at Oregon that have won at an extreme level, right? I mean, to me, Belotti's still the best head coach they ever had because of everything he did. Yeah. He took over from Rich and took him to the next level. And then he set it up for Chip because we know Chip can't staff worth a damn, right? Chip can't recruit. Chip can't staff. So Bellotti, everything that Chip did, I know as a name he's legendary, but it was only 4 years. Right. And he didn't stay for very long. And so while he did a good job, to me, he's not a legendary Oregon coach. To me, that's Bellotti and that's Rich Brooks. But then who else is there? There's really nobody else there. In Alabama, no matter how good Lanning does, he's probably still going to be the third best head coach of all time in Alabama, no matter how good he is. Right? Here, he has an opportunity to, given his age, his dedication, the culture he's built. I mean, he's trying to build a culture of commitment. Guess what he's doing? He's showing people that he's doing that himself. So I think this helps recruiting as well. But, from my standpoint, I think it's an opportunity for him. If he wants to become a legendary head coach, it's at Oregon. It will never be at Alabama for him or anybody else.
Yeah, I think he knows that. And it's what's wild about him is he already feels like kind of a legend in Eugene just because, one, just kind of the swagger. He really fits with Oregon's kind of flash, but he's also bringing some toughness and just this has gone a long way to show Oregon fans that guy is not just talking the talk, he's walking the walk, which I think is a breath of fresh air after the last two coaches. This is Dave Bartoo, College Football Matrix. Which school do you think made the best hire according to Rona Dave? You've got Mike Elko is now at A&M. Not sexy, but seems good. Willie Fritz, I know you really liked Willie Fritz. He's now at Houston.
I'm biased on Willie because that's one of my clients. I helped build that staff, so we can't count that one. Okay.
Oh, okay. I thought you see because you pinpointed Kalen DeBoer before anybody was talking about Kalen DeBoer. It seemed to me that Willie Fritz was kind of that same guy too.
Willie is really good, but Kalen is top 3 in the country, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, between Kalen and Dan, and unfortunately, with what happened with Oregon State, I mean, Kalen, Dan, and Jonathan were, wow. I mean, right here in the backyard.
Yeah.
It was really amazing. A&M, I like what they've done as well. They've hired really good. So, you know, with Elko, a bit of an unknown because he's only been coaching for 3 years. But the staff he has built is a significant, especially on the offensive side, significant improvement over A&M. So I like the direction that they're going with that right now.
What do you think, Jonathan Smith? How about that hire at Michigan State? Is that a good fit?
I was laughing to myself last night. I'm like, you know, if Alabama pays the $20 million buyout and gets Lanning, then they can roll that $20 million and give it to DeBoer and bring him down to Eugene, and then the $12 million buyout Washington got for DeBoer, they can go get Jonathan back to Seattle from Michigan State, and then Michigan State can go hire Mel Tucker again. That would have been that was I was laughing about that one, but. No, as you've noticed, there hasn't really been a lot of turnover, but I think Jonathan to Michigan State, excellent head coach, excellent staff. He took a lot of good staffers with him. The guys he kept, especially the guys that were already there. We had a list of the 5 best guys that were on staff. He kept 2 of them. So I think his staff is really good at Michigan State. But, man, the Big Ten, you look at the coaching from top to bottom. Look, I know Alabama and Georgia, the SEC has a lot of talent, but the best coaching in college football is unquestionably in the Big Ten. It is going to be a joy to watch going forward.
Well, rest up, sir, this weekend. Get better. Sorry you have the Rona, and thank you for still coming on.
Yep. Anytime, buddy. Thank you.
Love your hot body. It's Dave Bartoo.